Those peaches were super juicy. Peach pecan crisp. Hi everyone, I'm Meredith Abbott. Welcome to Sur La Table. Today I'm going to be making a peach pecan crisp. This dessert comes together really quickly with a few ingredients that you might already have in your pantry. To make this recipe, you need oats, salt, brown sugar, nutmeg, cinnamon, vanilla, unsalted butter, peaches, cornstarch, pecans, all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, and a lemon. All right, I'm gonna start by making my crisp topping. Comes together super simple. It's a dump and a mix. So oats, flour, brown sugar, pecans. You can also sub in any other nuts that you like or completely omit. Cinnamon. And then to balance all that sweetness out, a little bit of salt. I'm gonna get this started with my pastry blender before I add my butter. Don't use a food processor for this one. I like to keep the texture with the oats and the pecans in here, and a food processor would just break it all up. So pastry blender or your fingers works great. I have unsalted, cubed, cold butter. Just press through the butter to blend it into the flour. And this is called cutting in. You cut the butter into the flour and the dry ingredients. You're looking for pea size. If you're using your fingers, you can take your fingertips, grab some dry ingredients, and pinch the butter into it. That is another option. Some people don't have pastry blenders. Here's how you do it with your fingertips, which is how I'm gonna finish it. And you're just going to do this, pinching the butter until it's all combined and you have all these little clumps of crisp topping. If you want this to be gluten-free, you could use almond meal instead of your all-purpose flour, or a gluten-free flour mix also works well in this recipe. Crisp topping, you can make a big batch of it and keep it in your freezer so you could use it later for another fruit filling. I also like to bake it on a baking sheet and sprinkle it on top of ice cream. So this is what we're looking for. Big pieces of crisp topping come together like so. This is ready. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator while I make my filling. I have a few peaches that I've already prepared. So now I'm going to use my trusty stone fruit pitter to take the pits out of these peaches. Set your peach firmly against your cutting board. Align this opening with the stem of your peach and wiggling it back and forth. Work its way through. If you feel some resistance, that's the pit. You might need to adjust your angle a little bit. There we go, I found the pit. Push it through. Set that aside. Simply cut these in half. I'm gonna make bite-sized pieces. So make some slices first, cut through. If that's too many for you to work with at a time, work with 2 slices. I'm gonna gather these up, add them to my bowl. You can use ripe peaches if you happen to have any. You can use frozen peaches with this. Just make sure that they are thawed and drained of any excess liquid. You can use a mixture of fruits, whatever you have, what's in season. Now, if you don't have a bench scraper and you want to pick up and move a lot of product at the time, you can use your knife, just not the blade side. Use the back dull side to scrape and pick things up if you need some help moving a lot of food around. Just watch out for that blade, keep your fingers out of the way. Now I'm going to add my sugar, salt, always salt for balance. It's not gonna make things salty, it's just going to even out the sweetness of everything. Cinnamon, cornstarch. This is going to thicken all of those juices and make a really nice sauce. Vanilla, nutmeg. I like to use a whole pod and grate it fresh. You need about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So I like to set my microplane against the side of the bowl so it doesn't skip around, and grate right into the bowl. Couple passes back and forth, tap off any excess. My last ingredient is some lemon juice. So fresh lemon, cut in half, just a little bit. I'm going to mix it all together, carefully toss. Just good habit to be gentle with your fruit. Now that this is all mixed, it is ready to go into a buttered baking dish. So I'm just gonna spread my peaches out. And now I'm ready to get my crisp topping that I prepared earlier out of the refrigerator. Work my fingers through it to make sure that it's nice and big kind of crumbles. And sprinkle it on top. This is going to go into the oven until golden brown and bubbly. Start checking it at about 60 minutes. Okay, I'm all set to serve my crisp. Now this has been out of the oven, cooling at room temperature for about 15-20 minutes. I have some vanilla ice cream that I made earlier that I'm gonna serve along with it. So I'm gonna just take a little piece out of the corner into my bowl. Get a nice big, nice big scoop out of there. Put it right alongside and enjoy. So delicious. For recipe videos, cooking classes, and more, visit surlatab.com.